Hang on, I'm coming!
Yeah, what do you want?
Good morning, sir or madam. I would like to tell you about a special investment opportunity.
Oh, it's you. I don't know why I'm surprised. You know, I thought after last time I chased you all off with the baseball bat and everything that, you'd gotta take the hit and never come back.
Oh, yes, sir. Yet here we are. Anyway, we're here to tell you about our spooky new sandwich at Marcelline's playground. I smell Tex-Mex and candy. It's the new mummy pita sandwich. It's a secret, though, so don't tell anyone.
Yeah, that's dumb. How much?
Oh, that's a great question. You see, we haven't decided yet. Mainly because none of us can count, except for him.
I can count to 25. 27 if I use my toes.
You don't look like you have any toes.
Oh, gee whiz. Somebody's observant today. That's exactly the reason why we gotta sell these things. Talk about some toes. That's exactly the kind of thing that separates the sentient beings from the dogs.
Oh, yeah. Why are you pointing at me for?
What are you talking about? I didn't even notice.
I believe that I can answer that, sir. It's because he has no toes, see? And he has to use his fingers to cure his Pac-Man fever.
And speaking of Pac-Man, you're gonna eat up this new sandwich just like Pac-Man eat them pellets. Waka, 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 waka.
Yeah, your sandwich still sounds kind of stupid. You got anything else?
Well, on the drive over here, I told them to do a Superman theme. Bring the sandwich out with glasses on and then remove them for everyone.
Yeah, and then everybody can say, oh my gosh, what a good disguise. I would have never thought that was a sandwich. I thought we should do a Wolfman sandwich. And every time we bring it out to a customer, we show them our honey.
Yes, except for that's a terrible idea because every time we sell a frickin' sandwich, I'm gonna have to be there to moon the customer. And I am way too busy with my modeling career to pursue such interests. Plus, it's a pita sandwich. And we all know that this would be unethical to the Wolfman, whom we all know is half animal.
Fine, we'll do a Dracula sandwich. I want to suck your money.
What? No, it's the mummy pita sandwich. Because the mummy's name is Pita, like Peter. Get it? Or Pita, like off Hunger Games. It doesn't matter. We'll let the customer decide.
Oh, that's stupid. Listen, it should be a wrap. And you tell everyone not to keep the mummy wrap under wraps because you want to sell sandwich. And mummies are wrapped up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that is just a terrible, ridiculous idea. Write that down.
Okay, but we won't know what it says.
Why are you talking like that?
Hey, buddy, you been hitting the sauce or something? No, he's just an idiot and he thinks he's gonna get out of taking me to bingo night. Simon, they got 3 wings and we're going.
Oh, my head. Oh. What the crap? This place again. Hey, babe, it's good to see you. I wasn't drinking ginger ale again. I don't know why I'm here. What can I do for you, baby? Well, yeah, how'd you know? According to the meat man, Ben Tramer has found the power. Well, I always saw Ben Tramer as more of a dreamboat rather than a key to get out of here, but to each his own, right? Oh, yeah, well, I wasn't talking about Ben Tramer either. I was also talking about the power. Yes, sir, Momono, the synthesizer. What else would I be talking about? The power of love? I mean, come on. Psh. That old time travel thing is so played out. Of course it's real. What do you take me for, baby? I mean, maybe it's a replica, but we found it on Facebook Marketplace and the seller assured us they knew what they had and not to lowball them, and we didn't, and believe me, that's hard to do when you can't spell. But anyway, it does work similarly to the power. I don't know if it's American-made or Momono. Germanium transistor. I don't even know what that means, Momono. You're just throwing out words now. Oh, yeah, well, I look really forward to going and seeing it too, Momono.
Hey, buddy, you okay? You're kind of falling at the mouth. Yes, he's okay. He does it all the time. He's a freaking uncultured savage. Just Simon.
Oh, blind melon. Oh, hey, guys, I just saw Armamoto.
Simon, I think we got it figured out. We're gonna go with the Invisible Man sandwich, and we're gonna have placebo supplements sponsor it, because it's not really there.
Yes. Simon, are you okay? Perhaps we should drive you to the hospital.
No, we are going to bingo night for the free wings and the chicks. And maybe I can win me a pair of toes.
Oh, yeah, toes. Gotta have some toes. Let's go to bingo. Whoopee!
And we are live. Welcome everyone to the show that gives you the things that you don't want at the times you don't want them. AKA every 2 weeks. Unless I run into scheduling conflicts. You know how that goes, right? Anyway, I hope you're ready to have a regular time. I know that I sure am. Let's get to it. So I hope everybody's doing well since the last time we spoke. Have spoken. Helping verb. Ian, pal. Anyway, hope everybody's doing well. I don't have all that much to talk about outside of the regular show, just a couple things. We're nearing the end of season 2. Full transparency, this is the last episode of season 2 that I'm recording. I've already recorded the the season finale and a Halloween episode that you've probably already listened to with Mr. Rob Luther. And I'm about to go on that 1-month hiatus that we've been speaking about. And hang on here. I've got to adjust my mic because I just noticed that it's pointing towards the floor. Okay, now that that's taken care of, let's get down to business. That hiatus that I've been speaking of. Once again, not to beat a dead horse, which I really probably am at this point, but I'm still going to be recording and editing files and whatnot. And most of that's going to be basically recording the show reviews, kind of not to get those out of the way, but those are the things that I know how to do going into it. There's not really any sort of improv that I have to do on my part to do those. Really what it is I'm hoping that the interns can get their crap together, because Marcelline Playground, whatever they call themselves, I don't know what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing from day to day. So it's really a month for them to collect their crap. And if something happens where the show has to slow down, and I don't have any indicator that it will have to, but unforeseen events happen, and Lord forbid, I don't even want to mention health issues with anybody or tragedies or anything like that. But if the show has to slow down, it'll keep going on. I mean, the shows are already recorded. The shows in season 3 already recorded by the time you hear this. So just be patient. I'm not saying there's going to be slowdowns, that we may be able to keep trucking with this 2 times a month type thing. Yeah, the very fast pace of twice a month. Anyway, let's get down into some of the stuff here. Today is actually Roger Craig Smith's birthday, the 6th Ranger of the regular show. He may be voicing in this episode today. I'm not sure. Outside of that, I have been clenching my teeth a lot, and they are getting some damage on them. Ironically, they still look probably better than most people's teeth if an outsider were to look and say, just because my teeth are straight naturally. But I've always had a problem with grinding and clenching my teeth. And it's catching up to me, so I looked into trying to remineralize them. And, well, there's not a whole lot of solutions out there. There's fluoride and hydroxyapatite. And hydroxyapatite on paper looks great until you start looking into it. And I'm already using it, but it's kind of scary because I got to looking into it more. And the nano-sized particles of hydroxyapatite means that it absorbs into your system very easily, and it's the needle and rod-shaped particles that are the problem, apparently, because they can find their way into lung tissue and other organs and start to cause damage, like in the kidneys. It can also cause kidney stones, apparently, or lead to kidney stones. I'm guessing that's probably they cause like a crystallization type thing going on in there. They provide like a seed. So then I thought, hey, BPC-157, the old peptide that I never used. I always wanted to use it from back in the superhuman radio days. It was a big deal back then. It's apparently just a staple now in bodybuilders' regimen for repairing soft tissue and whatnot. But maybe, I know it's also been shown to repair bone, though, in models. So I thought maybe, and I actually got to looking on a Reddit forum, there was a guy talking about using it as an oral rinse. So I don't know why he wouldn't just swallow it for the extra benefits, but whatever. May look into that. I don't know. Probably not, but because that stuff's expensive. But yeah, that's where I'm at. If anybody knows anything, I'm doing red light therapy for the dentin in my teeth. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll figure something out. And then outside of that, I've purchased another guitar, a very, very nice guitar by a maker named Johnny Rushing. It's a handmade like boutique guitar, and this guy is a repairman or a luthier for Martin, and he's one of the better known guys for it, but he makes his own guitars. And this guitar is very, very, it's really good, especially for what I paid for it. I think the guitar originally, I think sold for $3,600. I would probably have a hard time reselling it for that because his name's not all that well known, but Carter's Vintage in Nashville, when I went down there, they had one pretty much identical to this one. It has the Bubinga, it's a rosewood relative, I guess, but the Bubinga wood with the spruce top, same OM model, $4,000. So I guess the value of his guitars go up. The crazy thing is the thing sold on Reverb for under $2,000, the same exact guitar. I tracked it down. So yeah, it's every bit worth that $3,000 though. It's a great guitar. It just has this natural compression and evenness to it. I also played some carbon fiber guitars while I was in Nashville at Grin's Guitar. The McPherson, can't remember the model. It's not the touring model, but it's the higher model, like the full-size model. They're heavy, but man, they are so even. Like every note rings out almost the same. It's like a recording artist's dream, in my opinion. I would imagine it's so much easier to mix those guitars. But anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at. Really cool guitar. I'm going to have to sell off another one to be able to get my money back. So I'm going to be selling that Gibson Hummingbird, which is also a great guitar. It's just, I like this Rushing guitar better. I like that little OM. It's not Parlor, but it's bigger than Parlor. It's like, I think it's a little bit bigger than a triple O, maybe a longer neck. So it's right beneath a Dreadnought style. But I really like it. It's fun to play, and it's very easy to play. Now, getting the rest of the house, especially the dogs, to be quiet while I play it is another story. But the actual technical part of it, minus fitting in a booth and everything, but just sitting out in the open and playing it, it's very easy to play. Anyway, that's all I got for all that extra stuff. Maybe one more thing. I watched an anime last night. I don't remember what it's called. It's a movie. I don't think it's a Ghibli movie, but it's like it's almost like that movie Your Lie in April. Maybe it's the same company. I don't know. But it's something about the tunnel of goodbyes or something, where these two people find this tunnel that will grant a wish, but it costs them 100 years of their life or they have to go transport in the future 100 years, or accelerates time for them. Apparently they don't age if they go in there, but all of time accelerates outside of the tunnel drastically. And, it was all right. I watched the English dub. I don't think they had the Japanese dub on Max. I'm sure the voice acting would have been better. Not that the voice acting was bad, but there's something just lost when you don't get the Japanese voice actors. For some reason, that language, they can just convey emotion in that type of medium, I think, better than, or at least a lot of times better than the English dubs can. There's a few times with English dub I would prefer it over it. Maybe Cowboy Bebop, a few shows like that. But usually I think the Japanese dubs are better just because it was made with a Japanese voice actor in mind. Anyway, I'm getting off track. If you watch that, it's I guess it's worth watching. It's only like an hour and a half or something. And it kind of gets, it's nothing life altering, but there are a couple moments in there that are really like, wow. Yeah. They kind of hit you hard, That's all I was looking for. I guess I didn't feel like, I felt like watching King of the Hill, but I thought, I need to watch something besides King of the Hill tonight. So, about watching things, let's get into what we're watching today. It is the regular show episode Skunked. I think it's episode 27 of season 2. Let me pull up the wiki here. I have it pulled up, actually. I just need to split screen it here. I don't know what you kids call it these days. Let's see. How do I do this? Okay, so I figured out how to do it. Anyway, yes, I believe it is the 27th episode of season 2. And if it's not, you know what? Don't sue me. Yeah, it is. 39th episode overall. We're almost at 40 shows. All right. Woohoo! It aired July 25th, 2011, alongside the Adventure Time episode Memory of a Memory. And I've seen that one several times. It's the episode where they got to go to Marceline's head to, but I don't want to give the episode away, but they go in to extract something from Marceline's brain. This like wizard leads them in there. But then they got to go back in. Basically, they're pulling memories out of memories, and they revisit some of Marceline's memories, and it opens up her backstory a little bit. And the big thing I remember about this episode, there's two things. There's one, the character of Ash is going, "You're not a genius. You're not a genius." But anyway, and then the real thing that everybody remembers is the song that Finn sings as a baby. I can't remember how it goes. Hang on. Let me look it up because it's pretty memorable. Okay, yeah. So Marceline sees him, memory of him as a baby, because I guess they go into his head. I can't remember exactly, but he's a baby. He's got a little cap on and he's dancing in his underwear in the bathroom going, I'm a buff baby that can dance like a man. I can shake in my fanny. I can shake in my can. I'm a tough tootin' baby. I can punch at your buns. I can punch at your buns. I can punch at your buns. If you're an evil witch, I will punch you for fun. And then he goes, and he kind of throws his hand down. He blows a raspberry with his tongue and throws his hand up or down or the other. I can't remember, but it's just like the image of a baby dancing in the bathroom, singing a song in the mirror. It's just kind of funny. But it's a pretty decent episode. I would say, honestly, it's about on par with this regular show episode. Maybe a little bit better, to be honest with you. This episode, though, let's move on to this one. I'll give you a brief overview of my thoughts on it before we begin it, because I just watched it downstairs. Not that you care about that, but I watched it downstairs, and I'm going to rewatch it as we're going through this to catch some things. But this episode does some things pretty well, and it has some hits and it has some misses. They're not huge misses, but they're misses. Kind of like the dog barking right now. That's a major miss that I need to fix. Okay, so it's fixed for the next 5 seconds. So anyway, this episode gets some things right, and it gets some misses too. But the things it gets right, it does pretty well. So I guess overall my thought is the environment that it sets up. It almost seems like it's not really a Halloween episode, but it does have kind of some of those fall horror type vibes to it and some pretty cool scenery. But it honestly does feel more like an episode of Gravity Falls than it does an episode of regular show at times. I guess that's part of having that awesome scenery that we don't see at any other point in the park. I'll talk about that as we get there, though. So, July 25th, 2011, that's the air date in the U.S. In the UK, it's November 19th, 2011. 2.14 million U.S. viewers. PG rating. Directed by Mike Roth. Written and storyboarded by J.G. Quintel and Sean Seals. So that's I didn't know that going into this. So this should be as regular show as it gets. So I don't know. Maybe I am just a Mike Roth written by kind of guy. I don't know. But like I said, it's not a bad episode. It just feels, I'll tell you honestly what it feels like is the scenery, there's a cabin in this episode. So it reminds me a lot of the cabin in the episode, the late episodes, like season 7, where Skips is a best man in a wedding. It kind of reminds me of that episode because they go to a cabin and they got to eat like these wings. And the guy's like, you're a rich city boy, shaved chest, and you're rich city boy. And he just keeps, you're rich city boy, you're rich city, and all, But it kind of reminds me of that. But anyway, let's get into this thing. Well, no, I'm sorry. I got one more thing. Featured voices. We have Mordecai as J.G. Quintel, Rigby as William Salyers, Pops Benson Muscle Man as Sam Marin. I don't remember Muscle Man in this episode. Skips as Mark Hamill. And we have, ironically, Roger Craig Smith is not in this episode. But it's his birthday, so happy birthday, Roger Craig Smith. I know you're not listening, but maybe one of the 8 people, 9, I'm sorry, there was 29 followers the other day. Now, I know a few of them are the middle schoolers that I teach, just following me probably to be mean as a joke, because they do come up to the field house for weightlifting, and every day I just act like I don't notice, and they won't listen this far into a podcast probably to hear this, but they walk up by me every day. I got to stop breathing so close into the microphone. Sorry. Every time I take a breath, it is a mother to edit out. But anyway, takes forever. But anyway, these kids, when they walk by me going into the weight room, they always have the show on, and they never get past the part where the interns are doing whatever they come up with. So, I always hear that drink cup, talking. I can't do him all that well, but I always hear him talking, or one of the other ones. And yeah, so I guess they're playing it on their cell phone as they walk by to see if I'll notice, and I just act like I don't. But probably some of those followers are them. But spread the show. I don't care if you are those kids listening. Keep listening and spread the show, folks. It helps. So anyway, maybe one of you all can tell Roger Craig Smith happy birthday for me. Anyway, Margaret is Janie Haddad. Skunk is Paul F. Tompkins. And Eileen is Minty Lewis. So we got Janie and Minty on this one. Kind of like a pay-per-view on WWF. Getting the people on the pay card. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I left out here. We'll go over the trivia and everything afterwards. I haven't looked at that. I haven't really looked at any of it. So, let's see if I can figure out, if I can remember what happens here. I do remember when we start out that it's in the park, and I'm pretty sure the birds are chirping. And we get is a dead animal that has like 2 like bike tire marks that went over it, it looks like. And there's flies flying all around it, buzzing, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like a squirrel or something, but Rig's like, ha, 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 there's one. And he marks out a spot on a card. And he's like, well, I need one more for a bingo. And Mordecai, he kind of gives away, this is where they give the exposition here, right at the beginning. Mordecai's like, I can't believe Benson made us play bingo to pick up roadkill or something of that nature. Basically, Benson, who is in this episode, but not a whole lot, he's come up with basically roadkill bingo. So the park workers, mainly Mordecai and Rigby, go around picking up roadkill, and whatever animal it is, they mark it off on a bingo card. When they get a row, or whenever they get a bingo, they can stop, basically. And they kind of go through some dialogue explaining that. But Rigby's all like, we got to pick up roadkill anyway, so why not have some fun doing it? And so eventually, there's not really like super memorable lines in there. But eventually they get in the cart, a few seconds later. And Rigby's like, we're so close to that bingo, I can smell it. And he squints his eyes, and then he holds his nose. He goes, dude, if you're going to crack one, at least warn me first. And Mordecai's like, it's not me. He's like, look, it's that up in the road. And there's what we find out to be a skunk in the road. And they're like, is that a skunk? And they're like, yes, it's a skunk. And they mark it off, and they're like, this is definitely something that they used on the Cartoon Network for promos, and it's a meme as well. But they're going bingo, 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 oh, and they're and they kind of get the little phasey O's there because they're not exactly in pitch, and it's kind of coarse, and it's the whole regular show thing. It's one of the most memorable type of whoa moments in regular show. To be honest with you, I didn't remember that it occurred in this episode, but. Yeah, and they're throwing, they got the clipboard and the hands up in the air, and they run over to not the squirrel, but the skunk, and they're like, whoa, and they're pointing down at it and everything, and then the skunk sprays Rigby in the face, like, a lot, and Mordecai's, like, backing up, and the cloud's coming towards him, and he leans up against the cart trying to get away from it, and the green cloud that the skunk is emitting gets inches from his face, and it doesn't touch him, though. And he's like, Rigby, are you okay? And Rigby's like coughing and, close to vomiting, it seems like. And I'm going to go back and see what happens here. So the skunk gets up and he's like, hey, this is really almost, it kind of reminds me of a character you'd find on Aqua Teen. It's like a one-off character, but they've put effort into putting a backstory, and it's like some off-the-wall backstory too. But the skunk's like, hey, what's the matter with you? You think you can just walk up and mug somebody in broad daylight? And Rigby's like, we're not mugging you. We thought you were dead. We're playing bingo. And he's like, Dad, playing bingo? What kind of game is that? And he's like, I was sleeping. And he goes, they say in the middle of the road, he goes, what are you now, King Sandman, telling people where they can sleep now? Except he didn't, stutter. But he goes on like this tirade for, a few seconds, and Rigby's like, come on, just at least tell me how to get rid of the smell. And he's like, I'm not doing that, And he's like, but he says something like, it smells so terrible or something, or I don't want to smell like you. I can't remember, but the skunk gets like offended, and he like swells up real big like the Hulk or something. And it's kind of, it's very reminiscent of like the whole stereotypical cliched, like roid rage that you'll see from some of these characters on these shows. Not these kids shows, but they did one on Aqua Teen. I think they've done one on King of the Hill. They've done one on pretty much Family Guy, Simpsons. They've probably done one on every, everybody's touched that topic once. And quite frankly, I can't stand, I shouldn't say I can't stand, I don't care much for that whole trope. And maybe it's just because the characters just seem so, I don't know. Well, I guess King of the Hill, it's kind of funny because I think they really do a good job of touching on that topic because it's so absurd that it's just, you can't help but laugh because Bill's doesn't get on the juice. He just gets around guys that are on the juice, and Macho Man voices in that episode. So anyway, this is kind of, I think, what they're tapping into though. So the skunk, he gets real big and picks up Rigby. He's like, don't tell me about how I smell or something. And then, I'm sorry. He puts him back down. And the skunk's like, you know what? He's like, you can figure it out. He's like, I'm not telling you, basically calling him a jerk. And he starts to leave. He's like, please come back. And nope. So looking more into this, it kind of seems like this skunk might be from Jersey. And, Rigby says, don't be a jerk. And then the skunk gets big and says, oh, so now I'm a jerk. And I guess it's kind of warranted him getting angry because Mordecai's like, look, we were just excited because we thought you were dead. That's when he's like, that's really something to get excited about, And the reason that he actually puts Rigby down is because Mordecai picks up a shovel and he says, put him down or I'm going to make you into roadkill. And the image of Mordecai with a shovel is kind of funny. It's very, once again, it's reminiscent of Homer Simpson. The look on his face, the way he holds the shovel, just the animation is just, Mordecai's not like chubby like Homer, but, the look in his eyes and everything, and the determined Homer look, he's got that going on. So, Rigby, please at least tell me how to get the smell off me. He asks again, and as the skunk's going off, he goes, nope. And then he goes underneath this hole in a chain link fence that I don't think we see in any other episode. So that's kind of where that scenery comes in that I was telling you about. But Mordecai's like, all right, dude, we at least need to get that smell off of you because it reeks. And at this point, Rigby kind of, he hulks up, and picks up Mordecai. And then he realizes what he's doing. He lets him down. He goes through this trope that's going to happen through this episode a few times. He's, I'm sorry, that wasn't me. So then, regular show formula. They got a problem. Who's going to solve it? Check out the beat while the DJ. No, they're going to go to Skips because Skips usually has the answers. Now, I don't know if he's going to say I've seen this before or not. I don't recall him saying that, but let's look and find out. So I guess the show skips ahead of the part, no pun intended, of where Skips says this, or I've seen this before, because the scene wipes and the first thing he says is, "This is bad. That was a were skunk, you know." And they're like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, this is real bad." He says, "That was not regular skunk spray. If you don't get it off, you'll turn into a were skunk too." They're like, "What are you going to," they don't know what to do. He's like, "You could try a shower." It's like, well, duh. And he's like, "If that doesn't work, maybe you can drink some coffee and it'll dehydrate you and get it out of your system." So, I mean, I guess they're hitting, the old hearsay remedies or whatever, So, props to Skips, but at the same time, it's like there's nothing mystic about it or whatever you'd think that Skips would come up with. But that's kind of a Skips thing too. It's like everybody talks about how, you look at the, I guess, quote, fandom or whatever the word would be, and they're always talking like Skips has some, ethereal, otherworldly solution where they've got to travel to the top of a mountain and, but most of the time, honestly, it's like just the dumbest crap. Like Rigby's got a song on his mind, so he punches Rigby into the wall. Or, they're like, "How'd you know?" And he's like, "I heard you playing while I was sitting on the can." It's always something like, not always, but the majority of the time, it's usually him saying something, down to earth. So now it's a shower and coffee, so that's kind of what I like about Skips. And it seems like most of the kids that I talk to, for whatever reason, their favorite character is Skips. So, yeah. So then this sets Rigby off again, and he goes, "Oh, you think you're so smart, don't you? Look at me. I'm Skips. I know everything because I'm so old." And they've like pitched his voice down. And "Let me tell you how to solve your problems in a really lame way." And then he picks up Skips. I don't think it's by the throat, but he picks him up, and Mordecai's like, "Rigby, let him go, let him go." And he puts Skips down. He drops Skips on like Skips's side or something. And Skips, kind of seems like he's phased or hurt, but it's kind of like, that doesn't seem in character from at all. It seems like he could probably still beat up Rigby in that form. But whatever. That's kind of one of those misses that I'm thinking of. But, once again, Rigby, "I'm sorry. That wasn't me. That wasn't me." So there you go. And upon third viewing, I was wrong again. He does actually grab Skips by the throat. He doesn't pick him up. He just throws him straight to the ground. While he's saying, "You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing." So that's a double negative. All right, Rigby averaging the double. So they pull up to the house in the golf cart, and Benson's standing there. He's like, "What do y'all think you're doing? Don't try to tell me you've got a bingo at this point." And then he catches a whiff of Rigby, and it almost gags him, or it does gag him, I guess. They're like, "No time, Benson. We got to get Rigby cleaned up." And he's like, they explain they met a were skunk or whatever. And he's like, "Fine, but I don't think this is going to get you out of filling out your card." And then he runs in the house, I'm assuming to throw up or something. But they get in there, thing wipes, and it's Mordecai knocking on the bathroom door. And he's like, "Dude, did it work? I've been looking the internet, and if this doesn't work, we should probably try coffee." And Rigby comes to the door, and it hasn't worked. And he's like, "I've tried the shampoo, the deodorant, and the cologne." And it looks like he has toothpaste in his arm too, but I don't know. And he's like, "Are you sure you tried it all?" He's like, "Did you lather, rinse, and repeat?" I'm stuttering a lot today. "Did you lather, rinse, and repeat?" And he says, "Of course I lather, rinsed, and repeated." And he goes, "I thought for sure the shampoo would have worked." So, yeah. And then Rigby's going to go off on him again here in a second. Not in a second. Well, literally in a second. He goes, "What do you think? I don't know how to wash my own hair?" And then he picks up Mordecai and throws him against the wall. And then immediately he's like, "Dude, I'm so sorry." And Mordecai's like, "We need to go to the coffee shop." So the scene wipes, and they're sitting at the table. Mordecai's like, "I'm going to go get your coffee, okay? Just stay here." And he goes over there, and he meets Margaret and Eileen. And he goes, this is great dialogue they've planned in here. He's like, "Hey, guys," or "Gals, haha." Like, "I need a coffee for Rigby. He got sprayed by a were skunk." And then Margaret's like, "Well, what are you doing here?" Like she's seen this before or something. And he's like, "I heard coffee can get rid of it, but I don't know." So now Eileen goes, "Oh, poor guy. Here, I'm going to take him a coffee." And she goes to the next room. She goes, "Hey, Rigby, here's your coffee." And then Rigby, of course, being the jerk he is, without being sprayed by the skunk, he says, "It's about time." And he grabs it and he drinks it. And Mordecai's like, "Is it working?" And he goes, "No, it's not working." And Eileen says, maybe you need to pour it on you. So Rigby, being the idiot he is, doesn't wait for it to cool down and just pours it on his head. And it scalds him, and he does like this animated little jump up in the air and kind of turning around and whatnot. And ah! And Eileen's kind of chuckling, which is kind of mean because, he could have 3rd-degree burns for all she knows. But anyway, he's like, you think that's funny? Is it? This is my life we're laughing at. And he hulks up and picks her up by the shirt, and it's in front of a whole bunch of customers that we didn't know was there until now. We didn't know were there, I should say, until now. Subject verb agreement, pal. But subject verb agreement. Oh yeah. Anyway, he he realizes that all these people are watching him, and then she's like, Rigby, you're scaring me, and he puts her down, and he's like, I'm sorry, once again for like I guess the 3rd or 4th time. And he runs out of the restaurant and or the coffee shop, and the fumes are still coming off of him. And he's like, there's apparently a big line at the coffee shop of biker dudes with, I guess, like skull shirts on, and he's like bumping through them, running into their guts, and he's like, crying, and whatnot. So I'm batting 0 for this episode pretty much because there are no biker dudes. I just rewatched it. There is a hipster in a skull and crossbones shirt, and there's a dude in a red, white, excellent precursor cap. And there is, I really don't know how to explain him, a tall guy in a sleeveless tank with a blue and yellow stripe, and he's got like kind of like a gray Doctor Strange thing going on / Stanley, if Stanley had a goatee. Yeah, and there's like a homeless looking guy and a mean looking red-haired bald guy. He's got red hair, but he's got bald crown on top. Anyway, yeah. So Rigby takes matters in his own hands, gets in the golf cart, and drives to the area where we were at the beginning of the episode. And now the scenery's changed, though, and it's really well drawn, it seems like. It does look like something off Gravity Falls, but it's like at sunset. And, they got the oranges and the blacks going on and whatnot in the background and whatnot. Oh, I got to mention, yeah, the animation in this episode, for some reason, seems to be a step above quite a few of the other earlier episodes. So I don't know when that quality jump came, but this one it's definitely prevalent. The backgrounds seem more animated in most places. The characters, I don't know if there's the cell shades or whatever, the cells, whatever, they seem to just jump out more. And this cat, he finds that hole in the fence, goes underneath it, crosses a creek with these little stepping stones, goes up to a cabin. And I guess he knows that the skunk's in there. He goes up and knocks on the door. He goes, where are you at? Or he goes, when he's across the creek, he says, where are you at, skunk? And he goes up to the cabin and knocks on the door. And I guess he knows that the skunk lives there somehow, that's one of the misses. It's like of this show or this episode. It's like, how did he know? But anyway, this scene especially, just this frame I've got it stopped on where the skunks answered the door. The cabin is very well drawn, and the cells are, maybe it's digital. I don't think it's digital though. I don't know. But the characters, it's like they jump out more. It's just very dynamic. There's a good contrast to them. So anyway, he's going to go in and talk to the skunk, and the skunk's like, no, you're going to be a were-skunk. And Rigby hulks up on him and throws him to the ground and starts punching him in the face. And he's like, tell me how to fix it. And he's like, I don't think I will. He goes, I'm tired of being the guy that everybody looks at, you stink, everything's your fault, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm going to split those responsibilities with you 50-50. And I'm paraphrasing, except for the 50-50 thing. So, I guess Rigby, maybe it's while he's beating him up. He's like, tell me how to fix the smell. And he's like, okay. It's pineapple juice, bro. But it's too late now. You'll never get any. You're already starting to turn. So Rigby looks, and he's like turning into a skunk. Parts of him, his tail's turning into a skunk. He runs out to the golf cart, and the fumes of him, he gets in the golf cart and starts driving off. But by the time he gets back to the house, basically the golf cart melts from the fumes, I guess. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's neat to see how Rigby turns as the episode progresses. So more and more of him becomes a skunk. So also as he's driving, the smell of him corrodes the leaves off the trees. When he gets to the park, when he's going in the house, he jumps right through the door. It burns through the door, burns a hole through the door, and Benson goes, "What the heck?" And the smell hits him, and it knocks him back. And the whole hallway he's running through turns like this stained cigarette stain, like orange. And Benson's face looks like something off of a not Ren and Stimpy, but like a Nickelodeon show, maybe Ren and Stimpy. Something maybe off like Rocko's Modern Life. It's very, it just seems like a Nickelodeon type of look. I don't know how else to explain it. It's, he just looks really sick. And also I got to point out the pineapple juice, that's pretty cool because, maybe they're hitting it like the bromelain in there, the digestive enzyme to break down different proteins. Maybe pineapple. I don't know if pineapple juice would work for skunk or not, but it's kind of cool. So yeah. And he gets in the kitchen and he finds some pineapple juice and he pours it on him. And at this point, his arms turn black and the hair on top of his head turned white. And, he gets a can opener, opens up the thing, pours it on his head. And immediately he's like, it didn't work. It's like, well, did you expect it to work right away? But he can tell it didn't work, which is another kind of miss, So it's like we have a hit and then we have a miss and then we have a hit. But, let's keep watching. And the skunk gets there somehow. Like he's already there. It's like he's waiting for him. It's another miss. And he's like, of course it didn't work. You think I'd tell you the real cure? And so, yeah, they're going to have a little tussle here in a second. So the skunk was like, yeah, it wasn't pineapple juice. I was just telling you that to stall you for time so you'd run out of time or whatever. And Ruby's like, no. And he's like, don't worry. Once you're like me, you won't want to turn back. And the whole inside of the kitchen is like yellow, like tar stained. It's, I don't know. It just is what it is. But yeah. And I gotta, you hear Mordecai. I gotta mention something about the skunk's hair in a second, but you hear Mordecai in the distance, Rigby, and he's driving on a golf cart outside the house down the hill. He's like, I figured it out. And he comes up to the door and he knocks on the door. And he's like, let me in. And the skunk's like, it's too late. He's my friend now. Ha ha ha. And it's, I don't know. It's like, he probably could have just been your friend if he was nice to him. You jerk. But anyway, his hair in this shot looks a lot like High Five Ghost. It just looks like a hand. But anyway, Mordecai, once again, another miss here. He's like, I figured it out. It's tomato paste. It's like, where did he figure it out? It's just, we just assume, hey, he's figured it out. So, which, kind of, this is kind of like a B-80s movie that you would watch, maybe even like 70s. It's like, you just assume, just give them the benefit of the doubt. So maybe that's what J.G. Quintel and Sean Seals was going for. Or maybe they're just running out of time with the episode, whatever. So Rigby figures out it's tomato paste, so he goes to get some of that. And then the skunk's trying to stop him. And we get in this action scene that's almost like the tomato paste is acting like, like a gun would be in some of these action movies where they're fighting to get to the gun. And, they're kicking it across the floor away from each other and all this stuff. And it's a really entertaining scene, to be honest with you. I mean, Rigby gets a chair broken over him. He takes he smashes the skunk through a table. He takes a drawer of silverware and throws it in the skunk's face. The skunk knees him in the face a few times while he's on the ground. Rigby takes the can of tomato paste and bashes the skunk's foot. That's kind of reverse order of how everything happens. And the skunk starts to spray him. And it's kind of like the Unicorns Gotta Go, where Rigby's in the circle of the unicorns. But except the skunk's spraying him in all these different positions. And he gets him in a Hurricane Rana or like an upside down, like a scissor takedown. I don't really remember I don't know the term for it, but it's, a scissor head takedown, whatever. But he sprays him like that. And then, Rigby's almost kind of down for the count. And then Mordecai runs the golf cart through the wall. So, yeah, now we have another challenger entering the competition here. A new challenger approaches. Now, one thing to mention about this is, well, there's a bunch of things to mention, actually. He hits the skunk on the way through there. The headlights were on. It's a great shot. He hits the skunk. He runs the golf cart into the wall. The golf cart actually explodes. There's an explosion, but nothing in the kitchen is damaged. The golf cart's not on fire or anything. There's just some random explosion. Mordecai is underneath the golf cart somehow, kind of like, it's got to be a reference to something where he's under the cart and he's like, oh, like a guy underneath the car. And the skunk's approaching him like he's about to, he's kind of taunting him like he's going to kill him, but he's holding his right arm. Going, you can't stop me. You can't stop nothing. And the way he's holding his arm, it's kind of like almost like a reference to how Vegeta would hold his arm on Dragon Ball Z, except with Vegeta, all 150 times he's done it, it's been his left arm. But anyway, it kind of reminds me of that. Mordecai's like, you're right, I can't stop you. But he can, and he pulls out the can of tomato paste where it was at on the floor. That's where the golf cart hit. And he throws it to Rigby. Rigby has a sledgehammer out of nowhere. And, you know, I guess Gallagher style, he's like, split this or something like that. And he pulls the hammer up and he smacks it down on the tomato paste. And it's kind of like a blood splatter on a horror film. And it just splatters everywhere. And the shot is just like right on their face, just, and their eyes are, you know, real wide and everything. And then like instantly Rigby turns back into himself. So, yeah. So then, you know, we hear Mordecai, ha ha ha, we did it. And they're Rigby, yeah, we did it. And they're covered in tomato paste and there's a hole in the wall. And it's a great scene. And they're celebrating and they look over and there's this guy laying on the ground. And it turns out the were-skunk was just a regular human. And he's like, thank you. And then he hits the ground, you know. So I don't know if he's died or what, but Mordecai goes, he still counts as a skunk, right? And Rigby's like, yeah, he totally counts as a skunk. Bingo, you know. And that's pretty much how the episode ends. All right, so that's pretty much the episode. They ended on a high five, you know, haha, yeah, and then we get ready to go into video karaoke. But let's look at the trivia and everything. So this was an homage when the guy says thank you. Thank you. And then he hits the ground, you know. That is an homage. It says that pop culture references when the were-skunk transforms back into his original form from his last moment, pays homage to the movie The Monster Squad, 1987, where the Wolfman is shot and says thank you to one of the protagonists. I've never actually seen The Monster Squad. I think I saw the Angry Video Game Nerd or Cinemask or whatever, do a review on it. Something like that. During Monster Madness. I used to love Monster Madness. Them first 4 or 5 seasons he did of that. Oh my gosh. Those Octobers. Woo-wee. I remember those so well. Ugh. I better not get off on that tangent. That's what he used to do there. I can't imagine the preparation he put into just putting out a video every day in October. But man, it was so great. It was probably just as good as the Angry Video Game Nerd videos themselves. So, man alive, I miss those days. And I think he still does them, but, you know, he's probably running out of horror movies to talk about. But those classic horror movies, yeah, man, I still go back and watch those every once in a while, the reviews of those and everything. So, bam, hammer. I remember that. Anyway, production notes. The episode was originally supposed to be a lot darker and be about Rigby being a jerk to everyone after getting sprayed by a skunk. Not a were-skunk, just a normal one. All because he thinks everyone hates him for smelling bad. However, even though that version got greenlit, it was scrapped last minute because, quote, someone somewhere didn't like it, and the episode was completely rewritten to the episode that aired. You can view the original storyboard and then there's a link. So I may check that out. And yeah, the audio that you're listening to is probably a little out of phase or something because I'm looking to my right at my laptop and the mic's to my left in a figure 8 formation. So anyway, hopefully that makes it easier on cutting out the reverb and everything. I don't know. But yeah, so the episode was supposed. Yeah, that's pretty apparent too. Now that I know that. I mean, that's a pretty apparent through the episode. That's probably why there's so many like plot hole misses, I guess. You know, they're excusable though. I mean, like this isn't a bad episode. It's definitely not going to be in my top 10. But you know, so goofs. When Rigby is first seen with the roadkill bingo card, the center space shows a star, meaning it's a free space like a normal bingo. However, it's not marked off. It eventually is marked off during the montage. During the montage, Mordecai... Okay, so this montage, it was like literally, I'm thinking like 5, maybe 10 seconds. I mean, it was not long at all. And it occurred right at the beginning. Yeah, I wouldn't even consider it a montage, to be honest with you, but whatever. Also, during the montage, Mordecai and Rigby find 3 animals, but when they find the skunk, only 2 new spaces are marked off, and one of them... Okay, so they're not playing bingo by the rules. Whatever. In addition, during the montage, the arrangement of the marked spaces on the bingo card and the types of animals... Oh my gosh, these people... Okay. All make way for the bingo experts here on the wiki. I'm just kidding. Yeah, they're right. It's just, I don't know. It wrapping my mind around that. If you watch it, you'll see. And honestly, that's going to be probably due to, maybe they had that at the beginning, but it's probably, if I had to guess, it would probably be due to the changes that they had to make last minute. So there's going to be some mistakes there. When Rigby is transforming into a skunk and melts the cart, he grows the white hair tuft of a skunk. Sorry, I got to stop doing these Christopher Walken sentences. After the way a skunk tells Rigby he was lying about the pineapple juice, so he'd run out of time, and Rigby grows and becomes blacker. The tuft is gone for the rest of the time. He's turning into a skunk. Anyway, whatever that means. When Rigby goes to the golf cart to find the were-skunk, he's by the coffee shop, but when he drives it, he's at the park. Pops and Muscle Man are listed in the credits, but they didn't. Okay, so I called that out. I knew that Muscle Man wasn't here, but Pops isn't either. And if I had to guess, like they say here, it's because they were in the earlier version of the episode, but not in this one. So I wonder how that would... I may need to check out that storyboard. Alternate versions. An exhale sound effect is added to the skunk after he dies in the UK. Okay, no censorship there. All right. Rigby's line in Australia, Rigby's line, "Come on, dude, don't be a jerk. Tell me how to get rid of this," was shortened to Rigby just saying, "Come on, dude." Man, Australian regular show must just be it must be something. I don't know. I don't know. They do make an episode where they go to Australia in the show. So anyway, that's the last episode I'm covering of season 2. I mean, the finale has been covered. I just mean like in real time. This is my last recording, quote, duty of season 2. So, yeah. Overall, I would say season 2 was better than season 1. I'm just going to give quick thoughts here. Some of the better episodes of the series were in season 2, but I got to looking at season 3, and season 3 might be the golden era of regular show, the golden age of regular show. It might be, at least, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely, there are so many episodes that are up there. I would say, honestly, though, maybe season 7 has some of the... Actually, from season 3 on, we get a lot of really good episodes. And people talk down about it like, oh, it's just blah, blah, blah. We actually get continuing story arcs season 3 on, and we get more character development and all the things that I like about the show. We get really cool, what's that word? Just really cool idea, show themes. I can't even, there's always this S word that I can't think of. I'm getting old, people. We get really cool, like, themes, though. Like, we get episodes about, like, different movie references and they're just these ideas that they have, really cool concepts for shows. And, yeah, I mean, there's so many of these shows that would be in running for top 10 in season 3. I can't say they are. I mean, quite frankly, some of the ones that pop in my head are Brilliant Century, Duck Crisis, Exit 4B, Excellent, and Excellence in season 3. There's just a lot of them that are really good, and from season 3 on. So, yeah, I look really forward to watching and reviewing season 3. Hopefully, I can get some guests on here. Maybe I can get Rob on some more, because I would really like to talk about these episodes of season 3 with somebody else, because there's some really, really cool episodes coming up. Even the first one, Stick Hockey. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said that their favorite episode so far, they're through season 5, halfway through at least, season 5. They said their favorite episode so far is probably Stick Hockey. or excellent. And both of those occur in season 3. So, yeah. Bet to be Blonde. That's not necessarily a great episode in my mind, but it's a very memorable one. People make memes about it all the time. Skip Strikes. Terror Tales of the Park. I mean, that one, you'll have listened to that by the time Halloween rolls around already. That's one of the best episodes in the series right there, the first one. Slam Dunk, that's a memorable episode. I mean, Wrap It Up, Pops Raps. I mean, come on. Come on. Weekend at Benson's. Oh, my gosh. That's great. Skips versus Technology, that's an all right one. Excellent. I mean, that's the only regular show episode, I think, to win an award. So, pretty good, pretty cool stuff. Video Game Wizards, that's an all right one. It's obviously a reference to Wizards. Trash Boat, I love that episode. It's as silly as it is. I love that episode just because of the creative names they come up with. Fists of Justice, yeah. I mean, Busted Cart. I didn't even know that one came that early, but that's a great episode. There's just so many. Muscle Mentor, that's an okay one. Trucker Hall of Fame, fantastic episode in my opinion. Fancy Restaurants, decent. Best VHS in the world. Yeah. I mean, my goodness. Fuzzy Dice, I love that episode. Some people don't like it. I love that episode. So yeah, and toward Death Bear, oh my gosh, that one always cracks me up. So towards the end of season 3, I mean, we get into Bad Kiss. We're really starting to get deep into the territory here. And then season 4 starts up, which that'll probably be, another year down the road, pace I'm going. But I do appreciate you all listening and hanging in there. So yeah, like I said, season 3 will be back before you know it. And yeah, don't worry. In the next couple weeks, the season finale I'll have it put out probably. So yeah, normal schedule should resume. I've got to say that like an English person, proper. Even though that was nowhere near an English accent. Normal season or normal schedule will resume. I just got to stop because I'm getting all mixed up on my words here. I've been stuttering this whole episode. Sunday scaries, you can chalk it up to, I guess. But yeah, that normal schedule will resume very shortly. And yeah, I do appreciate you sticking in there. And please like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell. Whoops, wrong platform. If you could share, follow, leave a review on Spotify or Apple or whatever this is up on. Any type of interaction you can do with the show will probably help. I appreciate it so much. And I thank you for listening. And hopefully we get more listeners by the time season 3 rolls around. And, can't ask much more than that. So look forward to season 3. Look forward to seeing you there. Oh, yeah, this episode, I'd probably give it a 6. Yeah, probably a 6. It's, like I think I said when I did Jinx, I get this one and Jinx mixed up, but they're really not all that similar. I probably like Jinx better. I guess it's because of the shape of the skunk and the shape of the Jinx monster, but whatever. Yeah, we're past that now. I don't think the skunk ever gets referenced again. So, the were skunk, excuse me. So, yeah, until next time, here's to that one thing. Insert catchphrase here.